One dark early morning, my mother woke me up in Vietnam and told us we were going to Hong Kong. She put me on a boat and told me not to cry. We ended up sailing for 7 days and then got lost. The Malaysian Navy picked us up, and from then on we became refugees. The boat was no longer than 14 metres and fitted more than 5 families on it, roughly around 30 people. Those of us who were lucky enough, we were able to sit in the hull of the boat, protected from the wind and weather, but there were some families who were stuck on the deck. We were lost, drift to sea, and afraid of pirates and of being caught by the Vietnamese Navy, and we were just lucky enough to be able to be saved by the Malaysian Navy. My family communicated with various government officials either by telephone or over the desk. Often we had to accompany them, either myself or my older sisters. And that wasn't very easy for us at the time because my parents found it very frustrating to understand the systems because they weren't used to it. And secondly, English was a big problem for them. They didn't really learn that much English at those English classes, and we had to interpret for them in front of government officials. As a little girl working as an interpreter, it was just one of those scariest experiences ever. I always thought that I was going to get into trouble if I interpreted something wrong. I also felt like there were times when I didn't understand what the government official asked of me to interpret. I didn't understand some of the things that they were saying to me. And the other way round, it was also very hard to interpret into Cantonese. Like, I didn't know the words in Cantonese. I mean, I was pretty young at the time, so I didn't have the right words. Even if I understood the English, I didn't have the right words to say it back in Chinese. My advice to government officials who are considering using children as interpreters for their clients is to avoid it at all costs. Firstly, for the child, it causes unnecessary stress and a burden to themselves. It places them in a situation where they're having to interpret concepts and circumstances that are not necessarily something that they understand or far too adult for their knowledge and their experience. And also, it disrupts the balance in the family between the child and their parent and causes stress, unnecessary stress in the family. For the official themselves, they're not assured of any quality, and they're not really sure whether the child is actually interpreting the issue correctly.
All right, I'll see you in 5 minutes.
The lasting effect that interpreting for my parents has had for me has been a fear to pick up the phone just to call anybody, let alone government officials. I used to write lists of people that I needed to call and find a moment when I felt relaxed, confident and self-assured before I actually picked up the phone to make those calls. And it meant that I sometimes put things that needed to be done urgently at risk.